June 2nd, 2020. I will call the roll. Commissioner Beasley Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Denning.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Perigin.
Here.
And Wilkerson, I'm here. We'll first go to city manager comments, and I'll call on Jeff Meisel.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to welcome a new face to our group. It's our new city attorney, Hillary Hightower. Hillary started with us last week, I believe it was Thursday, and is learning the ropes, spending time with Gene and all the other senior managers, department heads, and it is going to do a great job for us. We're happy to have Hillary. Hillary, would you like to say a few words?
I would. Thank you, Jeff. Mayor, Board of Commissioners, I'm excited to be here today. I am honored to accept the position of city attorney in the wake of Gene's retirement. I realize I have big shoes to fill. Follow him around for the next 3 months and soak it all in so that I can be the best city attorney for you all once he does retire. As you know, I previously worked for Satterfield and Harmon. That's where I began my career, and really enjoyed the work I did for the city, where I started in public service. Spent the last 16 and a half years prosecuting cases here in Bowling Green and working on the criminal side to make this city the best place it can be. I'm excited to work with you all now and be back here and go from this angle and make it the best place it can be, the best city. And I'm just honored to be here. I know Commissioner Denning, I know Mayor Wilkerson, and I know Commissioner Nash. I'm excited to meet you all in person, Commissioners Beasley Brown and Perigin, and thank you for the opportunity.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Next thing I wanted to touch on is our city budget. We are wrapping it up, and it is in your boxes. Currently, we sent a PDF out to you, I believe yesterday, Katie did, and you'll see we made some cuts this year. We had to, due to the circumstances we're in. Mainly, we'll talk about this. We're going to be making a video for you as a budget presentation shortly, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. But we are planning on a first reading to the budget on June 16th, and then we'll follow up with the second reading sometime after that to get it all wrapped up by the end of June. That's in your boxes, hard copies, and we sent you the same thing via email. Third point I'd like to make is we are planning to open our doors back up to the public on June 15th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. We have made some changes to our buildings, put up some additional barriers, plexiglass in some of the lobbies to separate some of the windows in the public areas, and we think we're ready to take on the public crowds coming in. We don't think it'll be very crowded. We are going to be still working with a limited staff due to the distancing rules, and still doing some teleworking from home, but we think we have a good plan in place and ready to go for June 15th. Last thing I'd like to do is to read a statement to everyone, to the public, from our police department, our chief, our mayor, you guys, city commissioners, and myself, that we put out on May 29th. And let me just, forgive me for reading, but let me just read this through to you. I want to get this out into the public in case they did not see this on our social media. We know that there is heightened interest across the nation about the actions of police officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, during an arrest resulting in the heinous and unnecessary death of a man in their custody. Our prayers go out to the family of George Floyd as they try to process and grieve their loss. The actions of this officer appear to be a criminal act and a violation of due process. We know of no other police officer or reasonable person that agrees with the actions of that Minneapolis officer. None. We should not allow the behavior of one bad officer to demonize the law enforcement profession and many excellent and honorable officers throughout our nation. We should remember the hundreds of thousands of interactions between law enforcement officers and other citizens that occur every day across our nation without negative consequence. We should also remember the vast majority of all police officers, both in Bowling Green and across the nation, are honorable, decent, well-trained, sacrificial citizens that work hard every day and put their lives on the line every day in the service of others. As the nation evaluates this awful incident in Minneapolis, let us find unity in the reality that this officer's behavior was almost certainly criminal and is not acceptable as a standard of behavior in professional law enforcement agencies. It has been condemned all by serious people in the law enforcement profession and in our communities. The city of Bowling Green, through its police department, does everything we can to eliminate the possibility of this type of unacceptable behavior occurring in our agency. A longstanding motto of our agency is we hire for character and train for skill. Using the hiring for character standard as the most important measure of a potential candidate sets us apart, and I believe reduces the potential for misbehavior. The willful misbehavior demonstrated in Minneapolis will never be accepted, promoted, tolerated, or overlooked in the Bowling Green Police Department. This is our assurance to the citizens of Bowling Green as the Chief of Police of Bowling Green City's Bowling Police Department, myself, the City Manager, and the Bowling Green Board of Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to read that, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Next item is the approval of minutes for our special meeting on May 19th, 2020. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson. Yes, it makes it unanimous for approval. The first item for consideration is Municipal Order 2020, number 81. Municipal Order approving the probationary appointments of Ramiz Bakic, William Belt, Jaden Brown, Javier Canales, Catherine Gleaves, Abigail Jones, John Spencer Smith, Paul Wells, and Cameron Wilson to the position of police officer in the police department. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson. Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Next is Municipal Order 2020-82. Municipal Order authorizing insurance premium payments to the Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services for insurance coverages of general liability, public officials liability, law enforcement liability, automobile liability, and physical damage, property, and workers' compensation for fiscal year 21. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Meisel.
This is the renewal of our insurance with KLC. I'd like to thank David Weisbrod, our safety and risk manager, for joining us today. Dave, if you would, just give a brief overview of this item for us.
Yeah, the renewal of property and casualty includes all major lines of coverage. And despite auto-related higher exposure-related claims with the pool, not necessarily City of Bowling Green, but the pool, we're seeing an overall decrease in our premiums year over year of $36,609. And these decreases are largely due to early renewal negotiations initiated by Chris Wiseman. He's done a really good job for us there. And continued positive city's workers' comp claim experience, where we dropped our experience modification number down to 0.51, which is very low, very good number. And a significant rate decrease in public officials' liability and the transfer of the convention center's standalone policy to the city's policy. Um, as it was mentioned, we've been a member with Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Pool since 1996. We're 350 entities across the state that's in the pool, and we've been very pleased with our coverage. And we ask to continue the purchase of our insurance through Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services for fiscal 2021.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson, yes, so the motion passes unanimously. Next, Municipal Order 2020-83, Municipal Order authorizing property and casualty insurance brokerage services and approving the renewal of the agent fee disclosure statement with Houchins Insurance Group Incorporated. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
We would like to ask your approval for a 3-year service agreement, again with Mr. Wiseman, and I'd like to ask Dave to give you another overview of this.
Okay, brokerage services provided by Houchins Insurance Group include, but are not limited to, examining areas of loss and loss exposure. They evaluate current insurance policies and assist with placement of coverage. They provide advice and consultation on risk and insurance issues regarding contractual arrangements. And they provide certificates of insurance that are needed for satisfying contracts and other agreements. And lastly, but not least, providing insight on insurance market conditions. The agreement continues our brokerage services with HIG through fiscal 23. These are the same services that have been provided in the past, but at a reduced fee. The city will save $7,500 for the next 3 years by agreeing to this service agreement. We've been very pleased with services provided by Chris Wiseman and his staff, and we wish to continue this relationship.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson, yes, the motion approves unanimously. Next is Municipal Order 2020-84, Municipal Order approving rate stabilization agreements with the Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services for the insurance rates through fiscal year 2024. Motion by Wilkerson and second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
Yes, again, Dave Weisbrot has been very involved in negotiation with KLC about a lockdown or a lock-in rate for us over the next 3 years. I'd like Dave to explain this agreement that we are proposing here and get your authorization. Dave.
Okay. The city, the rate stabilization agreement essentially caps rate increases at no more than 1.5% through fiscal 2024. With one exception being auto. I previously mentioned that the auto coverage has seen some negative experience in the pool. However, auto coverage will be capped at no more than 3%. Just because they're capped at those amounts doesn't mean that those amounts will increase by that much. It just means that they cannot increase by no more than that much. The agreement assures Kentucky League of Cities that the city will remain with the pool during the entire time of the agreement period. Alternatives to signing the agreement would be we could stay insured through Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services without a signed agreement. However, that could expose us to higher rates. Or we could shop the insurance market as we did in fiscal 19 and obtain private carrier coverage. But again, there are some there's advantages to both, which I outlined in the memo that was provided. Given the current and expected future market conditions during these uncertain times, I recommend Commission's acceptance of this agreement.
Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin.
Yes.
And
I was
Wilkerson.
on mute and I was going to thank Dave for all his hard work on all of that. Sorry.
Thank you. Wilkerson is yes as well, so that means it passes unanimously. Next is Municipal Order 2020-85, Municipal Order authorizing adoption of revised City of Bowling Green fire promotional procedures. Motion by Wilkerson and second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
In your packet, you have the proposed promotional procedures. The only change that the fire department is suggesting is in section 2-2, where we have changed the eligibility requirements for company commander or captain. They were proposing to take out the requirement of an associate's degree or the 60-hour rule of college hours. And also in Part C of 2-2, they are requiring an associate's degree or at least 60 hours of college semester hours to be eligible for an assistant chief position at the fire department. That's the only noted changes in this procedures manual for promotions, and be glad to try to answer any questions you may have.
Any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson is yes. The motion passes unanimously. Municipal Order 2020-86, Municipal Order authorizing the submission of a 2020 grant application to the Kentucky 911 Services Board for 911 system uninterruptible power supply UPS replacement in the amount of $117,102. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
The police department and IT departments are wishing to apply for the 911 Services Board competitive grant. It's in the amount of $117,102. This would be to replace the what they call the UPS, or the uninterrupted power supply, at 911 Kentucky Street, the police department headquarters. The UPS is basically a stopgap. When the power goes out, the UPS kicks in until the generator can take effect and kick on, and keeps us with power the whole time in case of a storm or power outage in the city, where our computers don't crash, the 911 center would not crash and go down. So we hope you get these funds of $117,102. We have put that, you will see this as an item in the 21 budget. We did go ahead and put this in there. This would help cover a lot of the cost of that item. So we're hopeful to get this grant and ask for your approval for application for it.
Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown.
Yes.
Denning. Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson is yes, so it passes unanimously. Next is Municipal Order 2020-87. Municipal Order authorizing the submission of a 2020 grant application to the Kentucky 911 Services Board for 911 system dispatch console workstation replacements in an amount up to $112,336. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
This is a similar item as the last one. Both of these items are coming of age. The last one was about 15 years old. The consoles that we're using now are roughly 17 years old. We're also trying to add 2 more to work 9 dispatchers in that room. This money, this grant, if we were to get it, would help go toward some new consoles for the dispatchers, change the room arrangement a little bit, make it more open where they could communicate with each other and meet the growing needs of the community. But we would be hoping to get nine of the consoles with this money, or this money would go a long way toward covering those. This is also an item that you'll see in the 21 budget for police. So would ask for your authority, your permission to get this grant.
Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson is yes. Motion passes unanimously. Municipal Order 2020-88, municipal order authorizing the submission of a grant application to the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance for the purchase of bulletproof vests for the police department in the amount of $21,675. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
It's time once again to go after this money as well, the bulletproof vest money from the Department of Justice. Are applying for $21,675. That would cover half of the cost of roughly 51 vests. Buy these over a 2-year grant period, and we would pay for the $21,675 and hopefully get that match from the Department of Justice. Be glad to answer any questions you may have on this item.
Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson is yes. Motion passes unanimously. Municipal Order 2020-89, municipal order accepting and ratifying actions of city officials and executing a CARES Act airport grant agreement among the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport Board, the City of Bowling Green, Warren County, and the Federal Aviation Administration. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
Last week, we were notified by the airport that it's $16,000 the CARES Act money, FAA, but they needed signatures from the city and county. So the mayor and Gene, our city attorney. Sorry.
I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if that's from your station or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Am I lagging?
No, you're okay.
So the mayor and Gene went ahead and executed this for the airport. This is to ratify that action to allow the airport to get $69,000 from CARES Act money from FAA.
Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Denning?
Yes.
Nash?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Wilkerson is yes. Motion passes unanimously. Municipal Order 2020, number 90, municipal order approving conveyance of the City of Bowling Green's interest in 1143 State Street to Warren County and authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute the deed and all other necessary documents. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Mr. Mizel.
If you all recall, the last meeting, we gave away or deeded over the building, the old P&Z building on State Street. Someone realized that the parking lot was on a separate plat, so this is the parking lot portion over to the county as well that could have gone with the building.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson is yes. Motion passes unanimously. Next is the second reading of ordinance BG 2020, number 7, an ordinance granting franchise related to telecommunications system. ordinance granting a non-exclusive telecommunications or related non-cable franchise to Comcast of Indiana, Kentucky, Utah LLC, doing business as Comcast Cable, Heartland Region, for the use of rights of way for the operation and maintenance of a telecommunications or related non-cable system within the city of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. This is the second reading of an ordinance that we heard last time. Again, it has nothing to do with cable. It just allows them to do their telecommunications. Are there any comments or questions?
Where's the feedback coming from?
I didn't hear you, Joe.
I was asking where the feedback is coming from.
I don't hear it now.
It got quiet after I spoke.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
You came back.
All right, no comments or questions. I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson is yes, so that's the second and final reading for that ordinance. Next is second reading of ordinance BG 2020 number 8, ordinance related to a budget amendment, ordinance approving amendment number 3 to the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky annual operating budget for fiscal year 2020. Motion by Wilkerson and second by Perigin. Again, this is a second reading of presentations from last time, I guess all of which are donations that adjust our budgets accordingly. Are there any comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
and Wilkerson is yes. The motion passes unanimously again on its second and final reading. Ordinance BG 2020 number 9, second reading of ordinance rezoning real estate. Ordinance rezoning a tract of land containing 0.12 acres from RM3 Townhouse Multifamily Residential to OPR Office Professional Residential located at 0 East 13th Avenue, presently owned by Kevin and Bethany Crossland. Motion by Wilkerson and second by Perigin for a second reading of an ordinance from a unanimous recommendation from Planning and Zoning. Are there any further comments or questions on that item? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown,
Yes.
Denning,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Perigin,
Yes.
Wilkerson is yes. So that final reading for that ordinance rezoning. And next is our second reading of ordinance BG 2020 number 10, ordinance closing a public right-of-way. Ordinance approving the closing of a portion of Mizpah Road right-of-way located 1,965 feet north along Mizpah Road from Commonwealth Boulevard, continuing approximately 2,215 feet south to Louisville Road, US Highway 31W. Motion by Wilkerson, second by Perigin. Again, a second reading of closing of the right-of-way that would be unused. The recommendation from Planning and Zoning was unanimous. Are there any further comments or questions? I'll call the roll. Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Denning?
Yes.
Nash?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Wilkerson is yes. So that second and final reading passes unanimously. Have no other items on our agenda, and our next scheduled meeting is for June 16th, 2020. And just as a reminder, Jeff, I understood that you said that you will be putting the budget presentation both online and on Channel 4 for us to view individually rather than have a budget presentation on June 16th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Once we get that recorded and edited, we'll get that out ASAP. We'll send it directly to you guys, but we'll also post it on our website and social media where people can get on and view it if they want to. but
Okay,
no action until June 16th.
thank you.
But feel free to email questions to Katie and myself, and we'll get back to it as soon as we can, and have that to you by the 16th.
All right, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Conclude our meeting for June 2, 2020.